Hello everyone, this is Joanna Filatowicz. Welcome to my extraordinary channel. And considering extraordinary in today's world, the extraordinary meets with actually the situation, what's going on with the world. And we have more and more people that when I'm hearing about synchronicity, what's going on, we put these puzzles together. Therefore, I would love to introduce to you today Krystyna from Atlanta. She will also tell more about herself because I probably won't tell you everything about her in a one sentence. But she encountered during her research a lot of years of research, a lot about things that may assist a human being now with what's going on. So welcome everyone, Krystyna from Atlanta. Welcome in the show in the English language today.
Hi, welcome everyone. So my name is Krystyna, and maybe I should just say a few words about myself. Me and Joanna, we became friends, I guess, in September of past year. And since then, we made few videos in Polish. I also made a couple videos on YouTube with Aleksander Berdowicz and his channel, porozmawiajmy.tv. I should probably spell it. Okay, I'll do it later. And on his channel, we have quite few videos that can introduce you in Polish to probably years of my research that I've done. And there's a talk about the gold cure. There's a talk about Jesus, I trust in you, about the painting and about my dreams. All the research I have done actually started because of my dreams. And today we are going to talk about the painting that was done by a painter that Sister Faustina, the Saint Faustina Kowalska, asked to be painted. And that painting, the original one, the only one that is original, is showing the pattern of how to spin. We are going about spinning, about turning in the same position as is shown on the painting, Jesus, I trust in you. And if I'm allowed to say, I had quite few dreams before I got into the whole idea of spinning. I would like to also mention that this didn't come just from nowhere. Long time ago, I read the books, the only channeling books at the time, by the author Barbara Marciniak and her Pleiadians book, The Bringers of the Dawn. And so I had some idea. It just didn't just come to me just like that. I had some idea about spinning for health reasons, for equilibrium, synchronicity reasons. And so what happened at some point in my life, we had a restaurant and I was very stressed out. The restaurant does not exist anymore. And so at that point, I had a huge problem with my neck. I had a stiff neck. And at some point, I was paying some bills. By the computer, there was a picture of Jesus, I trust in you. And the thought to my head came that I should get up and go and spin and hold my hands as it's shown on the painting, on a picture. So I did that. That was if I may say, the incorrect photo, because only the painting that is in a church, one of the churches, I think it's Lithuania or Latvia, the original painting has the right way of holding the hands. And probably I'll send you the video, the short video, where I'm spinning in the correct way, so everyone that is interested could see it, which way, how are we doing this. But all the other paintings have 4 fingers sticking out, and the correct way is that the 3 fingers, and don't say that this is some sort of Masonic sign or something, This is one of the mudras, and it can be used the right way or the incorrect way. And this is the Eye of Horus, but it's also the mudra of knowledge. And if the fingers are held this way and horizontally to the heart, and the 3 other fingers are sticking out, that's the correct form of holding the hands. And then the other hand, the right hand, is held this way, and that's also a mudra. And you have a fractal of a heart between these 2 fingers. So that's where we are actually looking as we're spinning. So we're supposed to just look in here and go and turn clockwise. And in Barbara Marciniak books, it says to spin 33 times. But in my dreams later on, I'll just come back to the point where I just started. Just give me 1 second. In my dreams later on, it said that we should spin 34 times at the time. Then more and more dreams came, and one of the dreams said to spin at the sunrise in a zenith point of the day, which doesn't mean that it's 12 o'clock. Zenith point is the highest, when the sun is at the highest point. That's the zenith point. And then at night when sun is setting. So that 3 times for 34, I'm sorry, times at once. So when I had the problem and the idea came to me, I had a stiff neck. I went to chiropractor. I had like 2 or 3 massages done. It was holding me for 2 weeks. I couldn't move my head to the point that I had to turn my entire torso to even look somewhere. And so I got up at that point, and I don't remember the exact number, but it was over 280 times, 290 maybe. And I span that many times, and then the whole pain went away just like that, right away. Whenever I was done, it was gone. But down from my knees down, I just felt like I had some sort of concrete boots. Mm-hmm. My legs felt so stiff I could barely walk. So I found a way to get rid of the pain, and from that point on, I started spinning. I'm very irregular in my spinning, and I'm inconsistent. But so what happened since then? Many times I had dreams about what's going to happen next. So one of the dreams said about going 3 times a day, 34 times. Then another dream said about in 2015, and I remember it was Christmas Eve on Friday, 2015, the 25th. I received some oils coming out from underneath my breasts, where you have the ribs. I had, well, on that day, I didn't see it, but the next day, the 26th, the Saturday of 2015, I had the same situation happening to me on the right side. And then that's where I saw that it was the bubbles of oil coming out from between my ribs. And at that time, because I was spinning and I was fasting for about, not to lie, about 40 days. It was about the pretty much whole September of 2015 and part of October. I was also spinning more or less frequently. Mm-hmm. And at some point in December, I was also fasting. And that's what happened. I had oil coming out from my ribs. And so I had no idea what was it. I showed it to my whole family, and I said to a couple other people about that. And I started reading about it. And it turns out if you are fasting, the organs are clearing to the point that your adrenal glands will do something exactly opposite to adrenochrome, if we know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And at that point, the adrenal glands will release oil. And then at that point, Christmas or after Christmas, I had a dream that everybody will have it, and that will be the beginning of Jesus, I Trust in You, about a heart that I only found out later on will be one with earth, and it will be called hearth. Like if you join together heart and earth, you have heart with a th at the end. And that actually is a word. I had to check that. And it means it's like the middle of the fireplace where you have your fire. That's the floor, let's say, of the fireplace. It's called the hearth. And so I started looking and translating the words, and I found out that it might mean in Polish, which I'm going to say it right now, serce gorące. Because that's the whole part of it. That's what will the heart evolve into. And so what happened in that December 2015, I had a dream that all people will have the oils coming out, and that will be the first step in becoming or in having the hearth, the serce gorące. And the dream said that the word for these oils coming out is antion, and it wasn't that word. Because I saw the word in my dream and I heard it, and I knew it sounded differently. But since I have dyslexia, the problem was I lost a letter in the word, because they show you something so quickly that if you cannot read fast, that's not going to help you. And so what happened was that I wrote down a word spelled untion, antion, and I missed the letter. There was a C between. It took me about 6 months at that point. Now, if things are happening to me, they have not instantaneously, but they happen much quicker. It takes me maybe a week to figure out something. At that point, it was 6 months. So within 6 months, I found out that the oils, that it's a word, because I couldn't find the word, right? So everyone will have antion, antion. What is antion? There's no such a word, right? But then 6 months later, I had a dream with the correct word. And the fact is, which at that point I wasn't noticing anything, is that if I'm fasting and I'm spinning, then I get the information faster, much faster.
Quick question. Everybody have to fast for 40 days and spin, or they can just spin, or they can have another diet, or it's just your personal experience and you cannot advise that?
I don't know. I'm not recommending fasting. I wasn't told to recommend anything like that. Although in the information it was said that someone could achieve this within 2 to 3 years if becoming a Breitarian. Maybe I shouldn't say it yet because I didn't say it in any public channel yet.
Okay.
But that's the fact. That was one of the dreams. It said, because it will take much longer to achieve any of that, I'm going to explain. I'll explain the whole process and all the dreams.
Yes, I will quickly say something to it, because the fact that you were not eating, and considering there is so much poison in the food and so much chemicals, it is the safest, of course, if someone knows how to fast, way to get rid of the body, all the poisons and everything that we are influenced with. And of course, you were drinking water, right?
Yes, I guess
absolutely.
So yeah, but just please remember, I'm not recommending any of that. I'm just telling the story right now. And actually, I wasn't doing it. So, but for all those who are Breitarians, for example, or people who are fasting on, just yearly basis, let's say, that might be, ideal way to test it, to test.
Yes. Were you forcing yourself to do it, or you had a sudden inspiration within yourself? Because if people hear that, some may have an idea like, okay, I should do it. Let me start tomorrow. And, you know,
I would say just get prepared.
yes,
everyone,
because
yes.
if something is natural, it is your way. But if it is not, perhaps not everyone is ready for it, or not everyone, this is not everyone else's path. Maybe this is something unique that was purposed, you know, that you do it, or you bring some sort of experience, what is possible.
Exactly. So to answer your question, I was fasting way before then. Yes, at the beginning I was forcing myself. The first 4 days were the most difficult for me. After 4 days, it's way easier after 4 days for me. And for people who are addicted to sugar, which I am at this point, and people who are addicted to coffee, which I'm not, but all these people have problems with headaches and some sort of like nausea and this type of problems, because of course cigarettes or any other addiction is, you know, very difficult to wean off. But the ones that I'm talking about are, most people have that problem, that they are addicted to sugar and coffee. And so that's the thing, that you have to expect the headaches and just, you know, just expect to be difficult at the beginning. Oh well. So anyway, so I did that. I read at that point, before 2015, I already read one of the books. I forgot the author, but that was also a channeling book, and it said to stay on grapes for 1 month, which I did. And then grapes have a lot of ormus in them. So I guess because the lady who was channeling, but that was when she wrote that book, that was like 40 years ago. And when she was trying to do it, I'm sure the grapes were less toxic than they are at this point. But yes, but they do have a lot of ormus, not natural ormus in themselves. So the dreams become more vivid, and it's easier to channel things. So at that point, in 2015, I had, it was actually 2016 when the dream about Anction came. So from the Antion, I went to Anction, and it's a word, and it means anointed. So anointed or oiled, exactly, that's the word. You know, that's what happened to me, and that's what the whole story about Jesus, I trust in you, is supposed to begin with. So every human being who is going to spin will receive the oils as a first sign on the right pathway, that they're on the right road.
I need to ask you a question here. What triggered your dreams? Was it a fasting? Was it something you were researching? Is it connected also with a gold or something?
Yes. So in Alex Berdowicz, on his channel, porozmawiajmy.tv, you can find out about the gold cure.
I wish it is translated into English, so I can give a link under this video, of course, of the channel, but it's in Polish currently, but perhaps it will be translated, or are we gonna continue in English?
We'll continue. We'll make a video about that if you wish.
So I have to mention that Krystyna discovered something considering gold, and as much as it's not allowed maybe to say that it has a healing potential, but it's definitely a method that can support human health, and you have pretty extraordinary research and results that I know personally about because you told me about it. And as much as possible, we are going to share. You are going to share maybe here in another video.
We can tell the whole idea from the history point of view, because that was being used by a gentleman called Leslie E. Keeley, and it was also used by a gentleman called Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet of America. So it's a long story. It's another video, and definitely we can make a video about that.
That would be fantastic.
So going back to your question, how did that all start? I would say the word, but probably you will get that video will get discarded. But something started by a gentleman called Mr. Humble. I'm not going to say his name, the first name, but I took that, whatever Mr. Humble started using in 2009. And that opened something in my mind, definitely. That was the beginning of, well, I've been awakened. I would like to say that I've been awakened before then, because my mama, she used to use all these different sort of things and read different type of magazines since I was a kid. So I knew about many things. But after that, definitely in December 2009, I'm sorry, I took something that Mr. Humble is sharing with us, and he has his books, and everything about that is in.
And it's not possible to say it here,
Yeah, I don't want to say it. Yes, so they don't pull this video, but so that was in 2009, and I did myself a favorite, and that was my birthday present, because I was born in December. And since then, I found about different activator, which is the gold chloride activator for that formula that Mr. Humble used. And so what happened, that was, I think in 2014 that I tested that on myself first time. Yes, 2014. And then 2015, the visions, not the visions, but the dreams. It's sort of like a vision. It's very difficult. It's not a regular normal dream. I can correct myself in the dreams, and I can change my dream when I'm dreaming. So it's a completely different. And sometimes I'm even like from my dream, I'm waking up, sitting on a bed, and the dream sort of continues.
Yes, so everyone who dreams and have these vivid dreams, prophetic dreams, lucid dreaming, because there are different types of, and this is definitely my topics. They know how it feels, and I pay a lot of attention to that, because for some people it may seem like, okay, you dream and what the dreams are, but we know from aborigines, from process-oriented psychology, from a lot of shamanic tradition, that this is so important. And if you dream, and if we are connected in synchronicity what's happening, and get those messages, and they are not obscured by any poison within our body or our mind, then we can get pretty clear ideas and visions, and even healing methods for ourselves. That's what I would love to add here. Yeah.
So at that point in 2015, the dreams helped me to find the beginning of 2015. I found 14. I'm sorry. I found the gold, and then I was pursuing the topic, and I found more and more information about, as I mentioned, a gentleman called Leslie E. Keeley. And then me and my husband, we went to Georgia Tech, because I live in Georgia, state of Georgia. And so we went to Georgia Tech. There's a patent office. We were trying to find the patents for his gold cure. We couldn't find anything. And then I had some more dreams, and the dream said that, don't worry, if you look for it, you will find it. But I wasn't looking. So I kind of left off the topic. But at some point, it came in the readings by Mr. Edgar Cayce. And so again, I asked my husband, we went to Virginia Beach, Virginia, to his library. And you can go and find, you can just apply and do it online. But we actually physically went over there, and I found the recipes, and they are there. So for everyone
in Virginia library, there are Cayce's recipes for a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to that library, you will see like 1.5 walls of his of the books that all the readings done by him, his secretary Gladys Davis, I think, or whatever her name was, I'm sorry, she was recording everything, and someone put that online. I mean, it's just a program now, and you can search it. It's not like a Google engine. It's very difficult to search the words over there or sentences, but you can still find things. And maybe I'll leave it off for the whole story with Edgar Cayce for the next time, because it's a very long story. There were devices, there were just drops taken orally, but so anyways, I started taking these drops, and in 2015, I was, as I said, fasting, and the first thing happened, which was the Anction, which is like Christ. Christ was anointed first, right? That's what happened to Christ. In Polish, you say namaszczony, naolejony. That's the word. That's oiled or anointed. And so that's the first thing that's supposed to happen to a human body, because if we spin, and there's the whole quantum physics about the whole idea of spinning, how the electric, this is, let's say, if we count this as a 9, so this is 8 parts electric and 1 part magnetic. If we count this as a magnetic, this is 8 parts magnetic and 1 part electric. If you spin, something starts in your heart that the whole energy, electromagnetic energy, which is plus and minus, changes, and it spins into a fractal, and you start with the implosion at the first, and then your whole body fills with the energy, and at some point, I don't know whether I was doing channeling or whatever I was doing, but I was just making drawings, and I can show them to you. I didn't prepare them for right now for today, but I can show you all the drawings, which are just in, let's call it 2D form, like the simplest form that I could understand. And it shows pretty much only by using red and blue, electric and magnetic, plus and minus, male and female. And it shows you how this energy, by spinning, gets entangled in the heart. And first you get the implosion of the energy, and it fills your entire body, and then you get the explosion. And that's what I believe is, you know, like if you see the Jesus I Trust in You painting, and you have the lights coming out from the heart. So I believe that at some point, that's the explosion of the energy. Can
you tell more about how you felt? Sorry to interrupt you. Can you tell more about how you felt when you were spinning? Because we already did that video in Polish language about Jesus, I Trust in You. And it's enormous things what people also reported to us, and also your own personal experiences, that indeed some people feel that emanation from the heart. Some people have a rush of energy on the crown is opening, or even there is something that happening while the meditation, when people just meditate, or also happened to you when you were spinning, like suddenly there was more light above you, or the sun came out of the clouds, which of course can maybe sound extraordinary or like a fairy tale. But if it's happening for many people, when the weather is not so nice, and after the spinning, it's suddenly the sky is opening, then maybe there is something to it. What do you think, and how you felt?
So what happened to me most of the times when I was spinning, more and more dreams were coming, and I could write them down. And the whole idea about Jesus, I Trust in You, at some point introduced me to the idea of just the spinning itself could become the prototype for a free energy device. So when that happened, when the first dreams that I started talking about, the first, well, not dreams, but let's call it whatever, channeling or something, when I drew all these pictures, it was explaining how the red and blue energy goes down, and whichever way it goes, how it gets in and comes out. Sometimes gets in 2 ways or 1 way, gets out 2 ways or 1 way. It's just, it's way more than that. But in a 2D, let's call it 2D form, it's just using the electric and magnetic, which will have endlessly more numbers. It just shows the idea of how the energy works. And then it became more and more complicated for me, and I'm not a good drawer, definitely. And I don't know whether I can explain things well or not, but if I wasn't writing down everything that was happening when I made those first drawings, if I didn't write this down, right now when I go back to it, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, good that I wrote this down, because I cannot understand what's going on over here. I don't understand the whole idea of how
like they're channeling here. Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so that's part of it. And then I had more and more donut-like figures, and I call it a bean-like figures. Mm-hmm. And so I'm writing everything down. I promised a couple of guys that I'm going to make a video for them, a private video that explains, you know, whatever came. But at that point, when this Anction came, I think that was the beginning of 2016, that the Anction word was, you know, came, and I understood what's going on. Then what happened, the next dream told me a word that I didn't even know. And in that dream, I remember I was trying to wake up and I couldn't. Sometimes I can wake up and just write something down, and I couldn't wake up. So I was like, I have to remember this word. I have to remember this word. And that was, the word was pericardium. Mm-hmm. The pericardium is the sac around the heart. And I didn't know that word. So I knew tachycardia, like a tachycardic arrest. Okay. So what happened, I just made up a word, and I rhymed 2 words to remember the important word. So I made up the word tachycardium in my head, because I knew that word and I could remember that word. And then I just rhymed the tachycardium with pericardium, and you know, I woke up in the morning and I could write them down, right? So somehow that worked out. So what happened, I saw in my dream, which was very fast and very difficult to memorize. And there are 2 options, and I don't know which one is correct. But one of the options showed the heart, and either the thymus gland growing into the pericardium sac, and growing around the heart, just going all over the heart. So which that would make pretty much sort of 2 layers. Mm-hmm. Or it was the other way around, which was the heart, the pericardium growing around, and the gland, the thymus, growing as a 3rd layer around that. So I don't know which version is correct, but it was so very quick that...
This is interesting, because the thymus shrinks with the age.
Exactly. Yes.
And what you were dreaming about, perhaps it's also another formula. So it's would love to know more about it. Find out in your dreams.
So that's the next step.
Maybe. Yeah.
So if you spin, if you turn, and if you do it on daily basis, which I don't, I'm sorry. And I know there's plenty of people who are way above me at this point, because they're either fasting or they've been spinning for knowing Barbara Marciniak. So they've been spinning for years, which I don't do. And I mean, your frequency in the body scale just shoots up, and you can hold your frequency. Because I know people, and I belong to these people myself, that can just get to the higher vibration, and by the end of the day they just plummet down, and they're from, let's say, I don't know, 40,000, and those are like amaranth auras, like not even purple, those are amaranths, like magenta, like pink auras. So these people sometimes plummet at the end of the day, and I've on myself, I've tested it. And you asked me a question about all the clouds and what's changing when you're spinning. I'll come back to it. But what happened to me at some point this December 2020, December the 21st, I went to Krakow and I was spinning over there, and around the Krakow in different castles I was also spinning, and I was doing 306 times at the time. And at some point I felt like I was getting sick, you know, like at the end of the day when the sun was going down, I would feel like the worst, I don't get flus, but I would feel like the worst cramps and pains, shooting needles, acidic pain all over, and a headache and everything, and the energy would drain, and I would go down to 10.
Hold on 1 second, because perhaps someone is experiencing what you're experiencing when they do different spiritual practices, or they just around people. And a lot of oracles, I call us by now oracles, just like my books, because they see something, they try to put that together, and they, thanks to connecting now together, we can confirm a lot of things that are happening in synchronicity. And what you experience, I wonder, I don't know what you think about it, but I wonder if this is not cleaning out the space where you were spinning. And so is it possible that you were sort of a portal for some sort of cleaning out that was happening or happened? Because I don't know what happened historically in those places you were spinning exactly. And perhaps you were releasing something that was going through you. Maybe you were releasing some energy, maybe some events. Sometimes there's the energy of the events in a current spot, and sometimes also there are those places of power. Then something happened. It can be positive power and something that makes us sick because something happened there. So what do you think about it?
I'm not experienced. I'm not really sure, so I
What
can't
do you feel about it?
But I can tell you one thing: if you are already sick, something's going on, and let's say it's not something incurable, but it's some sort of flu-like symptoms or something like that. If you get up and if you spin, it will go away. I can tell you that. And I've experienced this, and many other people told me that it helped. Just sort of like right away or until the sun sets. You know, when the sun goes down, something different is happening. And you know, for example, when you get fever, and fever comes in the evening, right? And especially with the children, you can tell that, right? That if the kid is sick or something's going on, the fever will come in the evening after the sun sets. So if something's going on, just go ahead and spin and you will feel better. So that's one thing. So going back to the places that I spent at that point in December 2020, you mentioned about, because we obviously spoke about that on your channel already, but that was in Polish. And so what happened at some point, and we would have to go to Drunvalo Melchizedek books and the Flower of Life books, where he talks about Merkaba and living in the heart, and just going through that whole mode to clear up the space from CO2 and from any sort of other pollution that is around the cities. So whatever happened, I only noticed the last day, December the 21st, when I spent at the zenith point, which was 11:38 in Krakow. I've noticed that the clouds became clear, like a clear round spot in the clouds, and then I had like ripples going around that little circle. And I don't know, I don't have enough experience.
If you are going to do that one more time, I would love to have an observer around you, because there are some people also who dream, who are oracles or seers, and they see a specific form of energy around the people. So how are you creating that? And we already spoke with that with another psychic person from Poland, actually from Ukraine. She lives in Poland, Olga Milajeva. And
Say hello.
She actually found me back through the channel, through talking about exactly the same thing right now. Because when I saw her for the first time, she actually was standing in the column of light. And she wasn't spinning, just to be clear. But the interesting thing is when you spin, that's why I was asking about your feeling. For some people, or at least how I felt it, there is an unmovable spot around heart area that doesn't spin. It's a perfect silence. And everything is whirling, if I say it right in English, whirling around. You're not losing the focus, but there is a silent spot, and that spinning creates sort of aura around you, like safety. And I also wonder how big that is and what it creates above and below. So perhaps someone already have more experience who can add to us. Please write us in the comments, because maybe people have it already also on the English.
You're reading it. You're reading all these comments.
Yes,
so yes, you know, the first
to follow some of it, but on the English side, we don't know yet, because this is actually the first and new thing to do with you in the English language. So see how it's gonna go.
Yeah, the first thing when the energy comes, that's the first thing, that you get the light going from above in vertical direction, and then it just spins around, and then your body fills with it, and then whatever comes out, that's the like the third step. But about the heart, and you saying, yeah, many people call this the 0 point, like a 0 point energy,
a great
or the Stargate.
Yes.
And there are many different names, but it's definitely in your heart. That's this main point of the human being as a body, you know, as us. So so what happened to me every time after I spend, you get in some sort of like a epiphany mode. I mean, at least that's what's happening with me. It's just so amazing. Oh, I didn't spin for a while now. I go back to it. But it was inspiring. Like, I always have some sort of excuses. It was, you know, remodeling at home or something, you know, it doesn't matter. So anyway.
The same here. I also get enormously inspired by you anytime we talk about spinning. And it's like, okay, from tomorrow I'm going to spin. And I try, I spin for a while, it feels good. But then, of course, we are always busy with something. Life happens, right?
Yes, exactly.
And but yeah, if people experience that, I'm very curious, because you encountered something for the different way, because everybody has different experiences and everyone has this unique thing. But if there is like more people who spin, what's going to happen next? What will happen if groups are spinning?
That was one of the questions that I had from the public when all this was starting. So the next thing after the heart becomes the hearth, and you know, the whole idea about pericardium and thymus gland growing around the heart, the energy. So one thing I believe, as you mentioned, the thymus gland shrinks because when the baby is born, the heart has the pretty large thymus gland around, and then with age it shrinks, and whenever we become adults, it's almost like nothing. It's very small, right? I believe one of the things that, besides spinning and helping the thymus grow, that's what's supposed to happen. By spinning, we are supposed to expect the thymus gland to grow. But one of the other things is the gold cure that we mentioned, and that's going to be next video. So that's one part. The heart would release something. I don't know what is it called. There was no name, no nothing. But that's something, whether it's some sort of form of liquid or some maybe energy or whatever that is, that will go into our brain, into our pineal gland. And whenever the pineal gland receives this, something is supposed to change in our whole head. The entire interior design of our head is supposed to change. And from that point, something will come out from the roof of our mouth. And they call it either mana or chi or prana or whatever you'd like to call it.
Yogis also talk about it.
Yeah, it's sort of like a ormus sort of type of thing. It's at some point I've watched this boy called Ramboy, who was the Tibetan boy who went to the woods, and he was sitting under the, I think it was like a fig tree or something. And he was meditating, not moving. And he said it's going to take him 6 years to achieve this sort of ascension, the idea of, you know, being ascended.
Okay.
And at the same video was showing the gentleman who was from India, and he was, I forgot his name, something like Jana. I'll think about it. And that gentleman wasn't eating since he was, I don't remember, 7 or 8. And at that point, when the British were making the video with him, they put him in some sort of enclosed room where they were giving him water for washing, but they were really measuring the water, whatever comes out, goes back. So he wasn't drinking, eating, he was just a typical, or maybe not typical, but definitely a Bretharian, a non-eating person. And eventually the lady, the reporter, she was so frustrated, and she goes like, so how are you still alive? And he took her finger, put her finger in his mouth, and whatever came out, he said, oh, I live by that. And there was like, almost like exactly, white sort of liquidish substance that, as I mentioned, they call it either mana, prana, chi, or whatever you'd like to call it. And Amrita, that's Alexander Berdovich taught me that name, Amrita. And so that's what's supposed to happen afterwards. There's something happening in the head with pineal gland and pituitary gland as well. But I wasn't told I didn't have dreams about that yet. And I don't think it's, at that point, it's not, well, it's another, just a name, you know, like we know Anction, we know heart, and pericardium is involved and all that. Whatever is going to happen in the head.
Sorry. It would be good to connect your discoveries, like put you to the test or something like that with Dr. Joe Dispenza, neurologist, who actually also works with that, and also Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, because they talk about the same thing from different perspectives, and they like, influence one another in a sense, influencing the world at the same time. But I didn't see anyone unique as you, talking, you would say, from another perspective, and that's unique for me. So I'm looking forward, when someone is watching that video, I would love to see that. Maybe someone's gonna have some ideas here how to do that, because I'm wondering what other people who do that scientifically for many years, what they would say about your experiences, where to put it.
You know, that's funny you mentioned that, because I wrote so many emails, first about Gold Cure, not so many about Jesus, I trust in you, because I was just burned out, I guess, at that point. But I did write Mr. Greg Braden, and I did write John Dispenza. I didn't write Mr. Lipton, but I mean, I've sent, because I just made a draft and I resent the email many times, and I didn't get.
I think they have the same thing. So
yeah, maybe it wasn't the time yet.
Emails. No, because you know how it is at that point, that it's impossible to respond to the emails, and
Yeah,
probably
I
this is what's
understand.
happening, and it's somewhere there, but that would be lovely. All right.
Yes, and I understand how it works, and maybe it wasn't the time yet, but this seems to be the exact formula, and of course, until proven, we don't know. But it seems to be a formula how to achieve the whole idea, because that's what when the ascension, the you know the ascension. I'm not gonna go into our church, but the whole idea of the Catholic Church teaching about ascension just drives me nuts, because where is that ascension? You know, it's been 2000 years.
It's
Yes,
a moment.
exactly. And nothing happened. So where is it? Because it's supposedly it's just this super extra magical thing to achieve. And I mean, we don't have the formula. We don't have the key to, you know, to achieve this whole thing.
Yeah, it's a secret.
Yes. And
It
it's
stays
definitely
a
not for
secret.
us, right? Not for
No,
the
no,
regular people, right?
no joke here. No, it's
So
correct.
I don't know whether that works or not, but I definitely received the first part of the whole idea, which was the anction, the anointing. Well, okay, that sounds wrong. Like I got anointed or something. No, but the oils came out, and then if I continued to spin, maybe I would achieve the
Uh,
time
could you
to start
could you
growing.
do that? Sorry, could you do that? And I would love to see that also given to laboratory, because it's interesting. Like it should be research what that is, and it should be scientifically proved that something is different there. Because of course,
Yeah, I
if
was thinking about it, that it's, you know, me talking to everyone about that and not practicing on myself. It's not the right idea. So I was thinking about that recently, that I should really start doing this on a daily
but you had
basis.
it already. You had that oil from your ribs, from the area
Yeah.
around your ribs, but you didn't give it to laboratory, did you?
No, but I went all around my family and I put it on the foreheads of my children, because I was like, oh, now I'm anointed. Maybe that helps.
All
So
right.
no, I'm just kidding, but that's what I actually did. And at that point, yeah, I know it's time for me to start doing this on a daily
You
basis.
know, you know also why? Because people who experience extraordinary in the world, that this extraordinary is not so well received yet because, well, okay, maybe you're imagining that. Maybe it's not true.
Yes, you're right.
Especially in the world of disinformation. We need confirmation one from another, not only oracles, people who dream and have the synchronicity, but we need facts, and we need to have a backup also that what we're doing is not crazy. Just like Edgar Cayce, there was someone working with him that was collecting all the information. And nowadays, when we have so many diseases, when we have so much going on, um, I'm curious how many people actually can have a free access and the production, and what pharma could actually be based on Edgar Cayce business, so people have a little bit easier, right? I'm touching a little bit different subject here, but okay, just
Yes,
an
yes,
idea.
it's all good. So I have prepared, because at some point, you know, these epiphanies were happening more often. They don't happen as much. At some point in my life, I took a huge dose of hormuz, which was not in the form of white powder of gold, but it was just one step before then. It was just the gold, but still in liquid, because the last form in a formula to make the powder is just to dry off the liquid. But you have to have special devices to do it, so you don't lose any of that volume and texture and all of that. So I drank a lot of that liquid, and then, I mean, whole thing opened up, and things were happening for a long time to me, which was, At some point, it's like you're living in a dream, and it's like you're in ecstasy or epiphany all the time, and these ideas come and all that. But then when that ends, you get depressed, and you really need to get yourself out of it. So that was in 2016, the beginning of 2016. The whole thing started maybe in February and ended in May. So I really had to get out of it. I don't recommend this to anyone. Don't overdose on that. But I think I could compare spinning and fasting with this. But you see, if you're spinning and fasting, you can control that because you're still spinning and you can get on a higher vibration. Your aura changes. You start seeing things. I mean, there are things happening.
Yes.
But then you in control of, whatever is happening, because you can always spin. But by taking the Ormus, first of all, my head felt like it was on fire, like my brain was burned with something hot, and it was very, very painful for a while. And then I don't want to say the whole hell broke loose, but because I didn't see anything mean or scary, it was only positive things. But other people, and I connect this with taking this Mr. Humble thing, that my body cleaned up from the parasites, from the fungus, and all these other toxins. And lucky for me, I guess, and then I took the Ormus. But people who did not, and they just took the white powder of gold, or they took the Ormus with the gold, they just went a little off, and they were scared. And that's what happened. By the way, not many people know about that, but that's what happened to Mr. Humble himself. Wow. At some point. And yes, accidentally, he was just trying to, because he's a prospector, he was trying to get his gold, and what he managed to make was Ormus, and there's a whole story about that. But I know many people, not only Polish people, it happened to many Polish people, you would be surprised, but people from all over who took Ormus and things like that happen. So the point is, Ormus, I would say be careful with it, but the same thing you can achieve by just spinning Jesus, I trust in you.
Without it. I will mention something because I got very much interested in gold and all these different types, because there are gold and there's colloidal gold. So I took it to someone who works with biotensor, and there are a lot of people. So what you can do actually, if you're not sure what is the dosage, take it to someone. And it's very interesting thing, because you started, you will talk about it later in another videos, that you started with a drop. And I have a regular gold here. And I took it to someone.
Well, by regular you mean colloidal, right?
Colloidal, yes. I don't know if it's regular actually, but you will tell me. And when I put it on my hand and someone was checking it, it has to be always, practitioner who works for many years with energy. So make sure you choose the right person. So he told me that it will be okay, because it's so strong that it's okay. A 1 drop for 8 liters of water. So it's an amazing thing that the body will start, it's a very small dosage, because just as you said, a lot of people experience headaches. And I wasn't careful one time, and I took some, how many drops, it fell. So I just drank it, and I had an enormous headache. I didn't know why, but I didn't watch your videos yet with you. I had no idea. So you have to be extremely careful, because it may be that it's only 1 drop for a lot of liters. And for me, for example, if I would like to take it, it will be only 30 milliliters per day as a dosage, and that would already have the effect. So it's not about quantity, it's about this homeopathic way how it will influence you in a very subtle way, so you're not going to harm yourself. It's just like everything else, because as dancers, they don't do split. They are preparing many, many months to that, and then they can do a split. Otherwise, you just can do it once and never again and harm yourself. So it's the same thing. You don't want to suddenly hear your neighbor after taking this.
Yes.
You would like to go step by step and control it, probably. So yeah, that's what I...
Okay, so just to be clear and make sure everyone understands, what you're talking about right now and what you showed us just a second ago was just a colloidal silver, and yours has a strength of gold. I'm sorry, colloidal gold. Yeah, because I use silver all the time. That's why.
Yeah,
so
I have that too.
So colloidal gold, and yours has 30 parts per million. And the idea that I was talking about, the gold cure, is using the gold chloride 3. So it's a mixture of things, and we will talk about that the next time. And yeah, so people don't think that this is the same thing and you took a lot of drops, because you can't. And exactly, yeah, it's as you mentioned, the homeopathic form of it, like 1 drop per how many gallons of water or liters? 8 liters of water?
8. But
yeah.
But interesting thing is that I actually don't have to take it at all, because he just on my hand, it already corresponds with me. That's what this person said. So when I was meditating, I had this thought that, and it's also something to think about, that we will get, some of us at least, to the point that if we need some medicine, just by thinking about essence of that medicine, our body will react as we already received it.
Exactly.
It's just a thought to think about.
That's exactly what Edgar Cayce did. He maybe I'll talk about that in another video, but just to give the point an idea, he had 3 devices, and one was using, it was called violet ray, and it was using the plasma, and it was pretty much the same thing as Mr. Royal Rife was using, which is just a gas in a glass tube, and you put electricity through it, and it releases the plasma, and the plasma is healing. And the gases being used were argon, xenon, and neon, and some mixture, I think, of 2. And that thing, and this brings us to the keyword. The keyword, the whole point of every sort of healing is oxidation. Because all these things, like the gold you mentioned, the colloidal gold, or the gold cure that I was talking about, or any other form, and there are a million different forms that can cause oxidation. And when you take your antioxidants and you somehow they end up in your stomach acids, they become oxidizers, and they oxidize your blood. And that's the key word. The oxidation is needed for healing. So, but let's talk about that in the next video. But Mr. Edgar Cayce had the violet ray, the radial appliance, and wet cell. And I think probably the wet cell was actually using the whole gold cure. And the few drops of that mixture were put in a big bucket, and just through the nodes, that one was the cathode, the other one was the anion, you could put them on your body, and you were receiving, as you mentioned, as you put the colloidal gold on your hand, and you were receiving the frequency. The frequency of the gold cure was going to your body through the cables, let's call them, and you were receiving the frequency of the medicine, so-called, that you needed to heal your body. In some extreme situations, which you have to remember that at that point people were not so sick, and they did not get jobs, and they did not get different things, and the food wasn't so poisonous. but there were some bad, difficult cases that Edgar Cayce would recommend taking the gold cure orally. But it was, I think, like 1,400 cases of it.
So it's very interesting what you're saying, because it depends on the organism, on the structure of the patient, of someone who is taking what, and not the same, and the same dosage is for everyone, because now we're talking about different kind of medicine, like, you know, like there is something like a specific amount of something, whether supplements, whether, I don't know, drugs that people taking, or injections that people taking, and it's all the same for everyone, but we are so different. Our structure is so different that perhaps it's a new age of thinking, rethinking what is necessary and what dosage is for us, and start opening also for that, because it corresponds also with a process-oriented psychology, where we go into, when we work with that, when I have a chance, going into quality of the experience. So going into quality by your mind, and it is connected also, the Arnold Mindell, who invented that process-oriented psychology, with his wife, greetings if they ever hear that, Amy Mindell, they were working on this, connecting quantum physics, psychiatry, psychology, shamanism, aborigines. So all of that also corresponds with what you are saying, and also with the typical, that so often heard, law of attraction, that you think of something and you draw it just by thinking, by the thought form. Because it's a funny thing, another person who was working with those devices, and it was about another drug, homeopathic drug. I had no idea what this person is thinking when was trying to find out what's best for me. So the thing is that I got reaction in my body before this person even said what I'm going to get. And he said something that also made me think, and maybe it's something worth spreading here, that said, see, I thought about it and your body reacted positively on it. And you don't know about it yet. So on a logical level, on this, you know, consciousness level, we don't know. So we perceive the world on so many different levels, and they influence us instantly.
The word on, or in this case, the thought, right? Yes, yeah. It was just a thought before the word. Okay, so I have the last thing. At some point when I was the part of the heart came, the idea of the pericardium and thymus gland, and the whole idea about the heart and the heart becoming hearth. I saw a picture of the drawing, and that was like another ta-da, boom, epiphany, right? And so I'm not really sure if you can see this drawing.
It's going to be seen, yes.
So there's an article by Monica Gold, and I'm not going to read it right now. I was thinking, because we've been recording for over an hour right now, but I was thinking maybe I can just, first of all, read this in English and send the video to you, and maybe you can add upon this one. And then I will, now I know this tool, it's called DEEPL, D-E-E-P-L.
I can also add
I used to translate everything by hand, which I used to translate a whole bunch of QAnon and other things. But so I can just take this and translate it and read it also in Polish and make a video in Polish for all those who would like to hear about it. But just to read one sentence.
Sure. I can also link it under the video if someone is interested, or given the name of the article.
If you would like to read that, yes, I've sent you the link. Okay, so this has truly been placed into men's hands because, according to Rudolf Steiner, in the year 2100, so 2100, this process is destined to slowly reach a conclusion. So, which means when I read that, it was like, ta-da! Oh my God! Not only I'm thinking this way, I'm having like some sort of crazy dreams, and maybe I'm not crazy, you know. someone thought about it, and that was like late 1800s, beginning of 1900s, and he already said this will happen to everyone, and it's going by the year 2100s. I mean, isn't that amazing? So this whole idea of this heart becoming a whole, together with the Talmud gland, and because there's a thalamus and thymus. Okay, and I always mix these two. So if I did, I apologize. But the thymus gland becoming with the pericardium and the heart, supposedly becoming one and being called the heart, which means in Polish, serce gorące. So like the I don't even know the name in English.
You have to translate that because gorące, like a fire, firing.
I forgot how is it called in English. I used to know, but maybe we will put the link to like a Wikipedia or something, right?
Yes.
So anyways, it's not that I am only crazy, you know, and I have crazy dreams, but someone thought about it and someone actually described the whole idea. And I'll read for all those who don't like to read, which I really don't like to read, but I'll read it and make the video, and you can add it, and I'll translate this into Polish because it's not translated. And this is actually a copy. This is the book. And it was one of his lectures.
Can you say the title?
The Etherisation of the Blood. That's by Rudolf Steiner. And that was actually his lecture. And someone just wrote this whole thing down and made it into a tiny book like this. But this book didn't have the heart in it. It has different paintings, but it does not have the heart. As I showed before, not the exact other picture. And I believe it's really worth reading, and it gives exactly the same idea of how the heart forms with the children, how it changes later on at age 7, 14, 17, and so on, and how we become different people through the time. The same person, as they mature, they become different, and their heart changes. And the heart that is shown over here, and everyone's supposed to get by 2100s, is the third one, the third heart. So
very interesting. I would love to hear you reading that article right now, but perhaps we do it next time. What do you think? Because it's already...
That's what I'm saying. Let us finish, and whenever I'll probably even right now I can just record a separate video, and you can add to this one. You can just add
to the part 2 and part 3. So everyone, thank you very much for being with us. I am very curious. What are you thinking about it? What are your reflections? Do your own research. Do not believe a word. But if you have a synchronicity, share, because it's not a monopoly, but we put those puzzles, and I think Krystyna's puzzles are enormously valuable to everyone in this world. And this is why we are doing this in English. So let us know about your experience, and we are going to continue the next time. Have a lovely sunny day, wherever you are. Thank you very much, Krysia.
Till the next time. Bye.